All right, here we go.
Alright, hello everyone, my name is Guidiera, and my passion project is on cheerleading. So the main things I'm going to focus on today is to hopefully let you guys get an understanding between the difference of competitive cheerleading and sideline cheerleading. And I also am just going to tell a story about how I fell in love with cheer. So, yeah. That's going to be So where it all started, I actually started doing cheerleading when I was 4 years old, and I've done it consistently for the past 14 years. So I've never had a break from it, which is kind of crazy to think about. I got into it because of my older cousin. She's 2 years older than me. Her name is Tessa, and basically she got into doing acro and all those kind of beam and bars and kind of more along the gym aspect. And me and my younger sibling, or my younger sister, saw her doing that, and we were all for it. We all wanted to do it. We wanted to do it together. And all of our parents started calling us gym rats because we would literally be at the gym from after school until like 7 or 8. And our parents used to get so mad at us because we would never come home when we were like this little at the gym. So it started at a smaller local gym in Loomis called Extreme Cheer, which is that picture right there. And then we pretty much just followed my cousin from there. So my cousin went to a bigger gym called Power. So me and all my cousins, we all went to that gym. It kind of just bounced off from there. I'm passionate about it because it doesn't have, like, commonly it's known to be something that's very, very easy and like it's a girl thing. It's like it's too easy for boys, or it's just girly, like you're just cheering on other teams. When realistically, at this point in time, I did competitive cheer, and I didn't even think of it in that sort of way. I thought of it in a way where, like, you're with a big group of girls, and you're on the mat, and you're all just working towards a common goal like any other sport. It's about the teamwork and the motivation and the determination that you put into the routine that really creates those bonds and makes those routines hit. And I stuck to it just because of those things, the teamwork and the mindset that comes with it. And honestly, I kind of just fell in love with the whole thing overall. So over time, I did competitive cheer for 10 years. And then I got to 8th grade and I switched schools and I went to Cabot in 7th grade. And I didn't know anyone because I didn't go to school around here. And I cheered still. So I would go to school and I'd go home and go to cheer. I'd never been to a football game in middle school. Really sad. And then 8th grade, actually, I was best friends with Sam and Amanda, and they took me to my first football game, and I met a bunch of people, and I was like, okay, maybe I should get a social life. And I decided maybe I should go out of my box a little bit and try something new. So when I did competitive cheer, I based all 10 years, and I never flew. I never went in the air. And I showed up at high school, and I was 5 feet tall, and they were like, what do you mean you base? And immediate panic mode. So if you go to the next slide, I had to switch from sideline cheerleading to competitive cheerleading, or competitive cheerleading to sideline cheerleading, which is a huge difference. Rather than performing for a title or performing for, like, this is a competition called Worlds. You can actually get rings and money from that competition. It's the biggest one in the United States. To going to cheering for another sport where it's not as time demanding, it's not as hard, and it's not as just difficulty overall. It's a lot less, definitely, from competitive cheer, from the hair and the makeup to just that, from these shoes that definitely are one of the ugliest cheer shoes I own, and they look like basketball shoes, but you have to wear them at comp cheer, and then you get these kind of sketchier looking ones for high school cheer, just a lot different. And over here, routines are 2 minutes and 30 seconds long of just straight push and energy, whereas high school cheer is 1 minute and 30 seconds long, where we have more breaks and it's not as hard and difficult. So just to show you guys a little example, I brought, this is what I would wear every single weekend. I would go home Friday and I'd comps on the weekends, and I'd be wearing something like this, to going to high school cheer and every Friday night putting on something more that looks like this. So it was really a big change for me, and but overall it really did help me create new bonds, and it made me, like, they're both different, but they have their similarities and their differences, and I still love both of them. Some people wouldn't like it because, or sideline cheerleading specifically, because it is a performance. Like, it's a performance team, but you're like trying to entertain other people. Whereas, like, rather than you're trying to win and you're competing for something, you're cheering on another sport, which was probably the hardest thing for me to wrap my head around. Because I'd come to these practices and everyone would just be pushing each other, like, not like legitimately physically pushing each other, but like mentality-wise. Like, you go to the corner to do a pass and people would be like, you got this, like, push hard, like, you can do it. Whereas sideline, people were like, I don't want to backflip today, what do you mean? You don't have to do that. What are you talking about? So just the mindset, I think, was the main thing that was different. So, next slide. My essential question was, do the stereotypes within sideline cheerleading create gender barriers for male cheerleaders? So for male cheerleaders, especially in sideline, there are a lot of negative connotations attached to the title cheerleader, and the mentality thing, it's a girl thing, it's too feminine for boys. Whereas in competitive cheerleading, if you look down here, they use the boys a lot more than they do in sideline. So sideline, you see normally it's all girls because they're cheering on another sport. Usually the boys like to be the ones playing the sport. Whereas competitive cheerleading, the boys will hold girls up alone under them. It's really physically demanding, and I don't think a lot of guys know how hard it is. That's why also we had one guy on our cheer team a couple years ago, and he had to do stuff like that, and he actually was extremely bullied at our school. So it's just kind of sad that that kind of mentality is carried around campus, because really, legitimately, those guys do add a lot of team strength, because whereas you need 3 girls to lift her up, or you can take 1 boy and lift her up. So it really does help, but that would be something good for our school to break, because I think it should be something for everyone. Next slide. So high school cheer. I came to high school, and like I said, I was team lead. This is freshman year, and then all the way sophomore, junior, senior year. I've done it all 4 years. And I showed up, and I was like, what do you mean I have to fly? Scared me half to death, but eventually I got used to it, and I ended up flying through all 4 years of high school, and it was kind of just a shock to me, because it was new people, new environment, new team, different floors. The floor is a lot different from competitive cheer, whereas a competitive cheerleading mat has spring and it has give, so you can wipe out on the mat when you're trying new skills and it won't hurt as bad. High school, we just have, I think all of you have used them at least one point in time, freshman or sophomore year in PE. You have to lug those huge mats out and roll them out. Those are the mats you get for high school, or you just get turf or basketball court. We didn't have basketball season this year, but that's okay. Yeah, I was just extremely unsure at first. Wasn't sure how to feel about it, because I just did not like the idea of being in the air. I like my feet on the ground for the most part, but now definitely a flyer. Definitely really changed me over time. So today, I am keeping cheerleading with me for my future. Right now, we're in stat season, which is a newer version of cheer, which is only on the West Coast right now. And then in college, I'm trying out for a cheer team, and then if I don't want to do that, there's also a competitive team right there in the area. So I do have the choice to do competitive or sideline. But yeah, we'll see what I choose in the future. So next slide. So for my interactive, since it is a basketball coach, I'm going to teach you a basketball chant that you do on the tables, because normally you sit on the floor, but I don't think you sit on the floor. So we have 3 right here. You guys can pick one if you want to, or I can pick one.
probably could use this one a little more often this year.
Make that basket. That one's one of the harder ones, but yeah, we're that one. So basketball chants, you have to do them on the floor, which is kind of scary because you're sitting behind the basket, and if you aren't paying attention, all of a sudden the ref or one of the boys or the ball is coming at you, and you have no idea what to do. So that's another reason why we normally don't do these chants as much, because you are sitting on the ground and you are wearing a skirt, and you can't just jump out of the way when the ball comes flying at you. So do you guys want to make that basket?
Yeah.
Shay, do you want to see it first?
Respect.
So you guys are just going to use the tables, because normally you sit and we do it on the hardwood. So this one starts as make that basket. Make that basket. That's the whole chant. So I'll teach you it slowed down.
You're saying Broadway? That's a lot.
A lot of coordination.
Like, if you really think about it, cheerleading is full of counts. You literally, that's why people always make fun of us, say you're like dumb, because you count to 8 back and forth, like repetitively over and over and over again. Just to these.
Alright.
Hell yeah, I win.
A lot. Make that basket.
Oh no!
You gotta slow down. Slow down.
Okay, everyone chill.
Focus.
Everyone get your hands off the desk.
Focus.
So, normally when we start chant, you start with your hands on hips, but I'm going to do that. And you call it first. You have to make that basket.
Wait.
That basket. You guys know at the beginning of each cheer season, we have to watch a 2-hour and 30-minute long video and memorize like 90 of these. It's like the worst thing ever. Freshman year, it was like the worst thing ever. But
We gotta try one more time.
you want to try one?
Focus.
Yeah, okay.
We are focused. I'm just not very smart.
Well,
I'm in CP English 12.
Make that
Wait.
Make that basket.
any questions for our friend?
Sweet.
No, there's questions. Get up there.
How are those competitions scored?
Oh, like a competitive cheer competition?
Yeah.
So, there are, when I did it, there was less divisions, but now since more and more boys are entering the competitive world, there's too many to count. But, at a broader spectrum, there's 6 levels, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're categorized by small, junior, and senior. So, there's like hundreds of divisions. So like, say like I was competing in the small open, it's kind of confusing, but small open level 4 was the last team that I cheered on competitively. And you're scored off of technique, coordination, footwork. So like, say you're supposed to do a standing backflip and you land and you step, you'll get like 5 points marked down, and points are marked by, they're out of 100 too. So like, teams can beat you by like, my team could get like a 96.7 and they could get a 96.8 and they win. So it's really just a point system. It's like any other sport.
And if you want, you can come tonight at 5 o'clock to watch.
Oh yeah, we have a stunt match tonight at 5:30 and 6:30.
Very intense.
Or come to the talent.
This is a good. I don't know what brand this is, but is it like really big in Texas?
In Texas,
Yeah,
there's a big
cheer.
college there, Navarro. Navarro's big at cheer. Yeah, but it's way bigger on the inside.
So do you get like scored off of like facial expression as well? So if you're like not smiling the whole time, then
Yeah,
they dock you.
and mainly what you get docked for is like younger girls when you're on like mini level 1. The little girls will come out there and their music will be playing and they'll be singing the counts. So they'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the coaches will see you and they'll see you counting and they'll be like, nope. And they'll just mark you off for it. So yeah.
What's the biggest misconception?
That it's really, really easy. I would say that sideline is definitely a lot easier than competitive cheer, but when I did competitive cheer, like, I didn't have time to do anything. And like, even stunt is, now it's CIF certified, it's actually considered a sport, and now we have practice like every day, like the football team would or the basketball team would. Like we have practices Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturday mornings. Whatever my coach feels like doing, she'll just text us all and be like, "Sup, this is when practice is," and we're all like, "Okay." But it's not very popular here right now. We have 19 girls, we need 15 per team. So yeah.
The second year, isn't it?
Yeah, or third.
Third year? All right, thank you.